Did you see the presidential debate last night? May I give you my analysis? There's a way to categorize all these people. Let's see. I would do it this way. Let's see here. And then this. And then here. Okay. He's wearing a power tie. He's got the red on. It means he's forceful. He means it. These guys, I don't even know. What does yellow even mean? They're both wearing yellow. Presidents don't wear yellow ties. They're out. Now, so the real choice is between the blue ties or the red one. She didn't even wear one. What the? Now, you want somebody tough. This guy. CNN, may I ask you a question? What the hell is wrong with you? I've never seen anything like this. First of all, shh, let them speak. Second of all, Coke or Pepsi? Coke or Pepsi? Innie or outie? The world is burning down, and you know what? I'm voting for Plenty. Because he didn't even think, what about the Pepsi generation? He just immediately said Coke, and I like Coke. He's a man of action. You gotta be kidding me. And you wonder why you guys are losing. Well, it's between these four, blue or the Reds. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see another debate. Will he wear a blue tie next time, and these guys wear red? I don't know. But I know I'll dismiss anybody who's wearing yellow or no tie. What is that? Now, coming up on tonight's program, we have wiener news, but not the wiener you're thinking. Believe it or not, there is another wiener out there making news. And you're going to be amazed that nobody... No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm going to be real honest with you. You're not going to be amazed that nobody's talking about it in the media. It's the media. In a real world, one that made sense, you'd be amazed that no one's talking about this wiener. Coming up. Actually, I was surprised. I thought these guys did great. Well, not this guy. But I thought they all did well. And she did too. It's the ties, though. That's what it is. Welcome to, 13 shows remaining on this program. 13. Welcome to the program. Hello, America. It is hard to believe that we're 13 shows left. I plan on using that remaining time as wisely as possible and bring you the most important information that I can. At the beginning of this year, I told you, I hope, signaled to you that I was going to be leaving this broadcast because I said on one of the first episodes, I'm tired of sitting around and talking about the problem. It's time to roll up the sleeves. Wait a minute. I'm wearing a blue tie. At the beginning of the year, I laid this out for you. E1, E2, E3, A4. Empowerment or enlightenment, education, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. I believe this is the solution. Everything that is coming down on our head here in America and the rest of the world is going to come down to the individual. I told you last night about a book that I've been reading. I tell you, I have forgotten about what I learned about militant Islam and the roots of Islam or early Islam. Last night I was reading a section of this, and it's amazing what you can learn. The world is at a tipping point. It's a tipping point. This author says there's been 7 tipping points, and each time they've tipped towards freedom. But it was because of individuals. It was because of a small group or a handful of people that tipped it in that favor. I talked to a friend of mine today, Bruce Feiler. He's the guy who wrote the book America's Prophet, which is a fantastic book about Moses. And he has great optimism for the Middle East. And we were talking, and he said, Glenn, it could go the other way. And I said, yeah, it could. Yeah. And so could the dollar, and so could the stock market, so could everything else. That hasn't so far. But he's right. It could. And it will all come down to the individual and getting those individuals involved, educated, enlightened, empowered, and there is an O here, organized. Tonight I want to focus on E4, entrepreneurship. I think a lot of people will go, okay, well, what I got to do is start my own business. It is, if you will, if I use the entrepreneurship word, please try to think of the movie The Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Entrepreneurship, the way I mean it, is be a part of a creative force. Build something up, something of lasting value. Be innovative. Be creative. Be a part of something. But remember, creativity can go one of two ways. It can be a force for positive and a force for negative. And there are a lot of very creative people out there right now that are looking to take a stab at the United States of America. I was reading this morning, I said on the radio today, I said, I don't think I've ever said that this is how much times have changed. I don't think I've ever said in a tease before a commercial break, hey, and when we come back, I'm going to read a bit out of Federalist number 10 and expecting people to hang around. The Federalist Papers, I think it's number 10 or number 11, talks about, these guys were genius. They talked about how there would be forces that would want to tear the government apart, and they would want to change things, and they would use violence to do it. That was in 1787. They knew. It requires a thinking human being to evaluate, what are these movements doing? Who are these people? What are they creating? You can't just go by the names of groups anymore. Center for American Progress. Ooh, that sounds like it's going to be progressive. Yes, it is. Yes, it's not good. Why isn't it? Well, you should find out for yourself. You have to listen to their words. You have to then watch their actions, because politicians will say an awful lot of words. What do their actions speak? Is it a force for good? Is it building something up, or is it tearing something down? And what it's tearing down, is that good or bad? Not everybody who creates does so positively. If I may quote the great Jesus, who I believe was from Puerto Rico, where the president is getting down today. Judge a man by the fruits of his labors. By his fruits ye shall know him. Come here, Aaron. Come here. I'm going to miss you. Come here. Are you going to miss me? This is the wee little Aaron.
Not so much.
She's just off the side of the camera going, please don't shake your bootay like that anymore. Osama bin Laden was a guy, he was building something. He used entrepreneurship. He did it. Was it good or was it bad? I, for one, am still here to tell you, I think it was bad. But I don't know if we believe that anymore. Let me show you tonight what's being built in Egypt today. I want to show you mind-blowing comments from the Egyptian sheikh who said that Muslims, their financial problems over in Egypt, all stem from the fact that they abandoned jihad. His solution? He's got one. The problem was that they weren't going on raids anymore, and they weren't bringing back prisoners like women and children who could then be sold on an open market like, quote, groceries, end quote. Now, we told you last night that he said, oh, well, I was just taken out of context. Really? Was he? He was explaining that he was talking about something perfectly legal in the Quran. Oh. He said he was just talking about the spoils of war. Watch.
السوق تنظر إلى جارية تشتريها وتبقى كأنها زوجتك، لا محتاجة عقد ولا محتاجة إطلاقا زي المرأة الحرة. أنا لما أكون عايز ملك يمين، مش أنا بروح السوق واختار المرأة اللي انا تعجبني واشتريها. اختار الراجل اللي عجبني، راجل عضلات والكلام ده، وعايز ابني داري، عايز اهد، عايز اعمل الكلام ده، بشتري واحد اجره واشغله في الشغلانه بتاعته وبعدين ابيعه بعد كده.
What? It's a legal transaction. What? Slavery. You just go to the market and buy one. Now, this was a clarification of his earlier remarks. But I think it's actually worse than the first one. He's like, no, you don't get it. You go and you buy them. They're yours. It's legal. What? What? Is it just me? What? Let me tell you, it's not legal. It's evil. I don't care what you call it, legal or illegal. It's evil. Now, he's not the only one promoting this. This is accepted in many parts in the Middle East by many Islamic extremists. Again, judge them by the fruits of their labors. I want to show you a woman who's been standing up for this, and she's been saying, hello, hello, sex slave. She's in Kuwait. Now, she's been talking about this for a while. And in this video, I want you to watch, she says that she has talked to some of the most prominent imams in and around Kuwait. Watch her.
غير عن قانون الحرة. الحرة عورتها جسمها كلها إلا وجهها ويدها. أما الجارية من السرة وتحت، يعني تختلف جدا عن الحرة. والحرة لازم بعقد زواج، وهذا الجارية لا، فقط يشتريها وخلاص كأنه يعني تزوجها. فتختلف الجارية عن الحرة. عن هم كذلك هنا بالكويت سألت ناس مختصين متدينين وهذا، فقالوا لي يعني قالوا لي صح مشكلة استغفر الله يا ربي الرجل أو الرجل على دين، يعني مو إلا ملتزم حيل، يعني يكون رجل سوي بدينه يعني ويكون عنده خير. الحل الوحيد إنه لازم يكون عنده يعني إذا لا يريد أن يأتي النساء بالحرام، يعني إذا كان يعني مبتلى بالفتنة، إنه يعني هذا هو الموضوع، إنه يعني يشتري جواري.
Well, it'd be cool to see the cleric as a televangelist on TV saying, I sinned against you, oh Allah. I had sex and she wasn't my slave. That would be good, wouldn't it? All right, so let's just recap here. Here's a guy in Egypt saying, hey, what? I'm a cleric. It's legal. We can have sex slaves. That's the way to solve our problem with finances. Let's go, and this is what he said in the first one, let's go and attack the West and grab their women and children from America and bring them back over here and sell them into sex slave. That'd be great. Yeah. Then we have this woman who is in Kuwait saying, hey, I've talked to all the biggest imams around, and this is what they're saying. All right. She seems like a nice woman, right? I mean, here she is. She's out there. She's trying to make sure. Do people really believe this? Imagine if you were an activist mom, or your wife, or your girlfriend, or your sister, and she said, hey, I can't believe people are really talking about this. She's talking to all the religious leaders, say, the only way for men to stop having forbidden relations is to have slave girls, you know, the ones who can only be covered from the belly button down. Yeah. I don't know, even Anthony Weiner's wife wouldn't go for that one. But here's June Cleaver from Kuwait, and here's what she says. Listen now to the rest of her conversation.
صراحة أتمنى أن يسنون قانون لهذه الفئة ويفتحون يعني الباب لهذا مثل ما فتحوا باب الخدم المكاتب وهذا، يفتحون باب الجواري ويسنون قانون صحيح. يعني احنا ما نبي عيالنا يعني يضعون بالهاوية استغفر الله يا ربي اللهم استغفرك واتوب اليك بالزنا والقاذورات هذه. انا الدول اللي اشوف انها يعني مثل الشيشان اللي هي بينها حرب وبين دولة ثانية، اكيد في أسرة، فروحوا اشتروا هذول الأسرة. يعني مو افضل يذبحهم الجوع هناك، روحوا اشتروهم وجسمهم شغلوا هذا وبيعوهم على اللي هني التجار.
Gee, Wally, Dad and Mom are going to be upset when they find out that you have a slave girl and Dad doesn't have one yet. I mean, is that like every 12-year-old boy's dream come true mom who says, we can't let our kids fall into some sort of fornication. That's why I got my son a new sex slave. Excuse me? This comes back to the spoils of war. If you think that the world is going to continue to rotate and we all basically think alike, you are wrong. Hey, slavery is better than getting your head cut off on the battlefield. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, it's the humane thing to do. No, again, I don't think so. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but not too old-fashioned, like 7th century old-fashioned. Can I ask you a question? As we started looking into this over the last couple of days, I asked my team, did you guys know this? I mean, that's the accepted position on slavery by all the scholars and experts on the Quran, and it's kind of the spooky, darker places in the Middle East? I didn't. I knew about the 12th Imam. I could tell you about the 12ers. I could tell you all about it. I can tell you all kinds of stuff in the Middle East. This one? No. We've been fighting radicalized Islam for a decade. And we have something big like this we still have to learn about? Okay. I think we're in trouble. I don't think we really know who these people are. We might want to go slow. That's not... What do you say we don't arm them? Let's just keep that between us. Let me ask you this. Where are the voices of condemnation on the increasing bigotry that is on videotape coming out of the Middle East? Like this.
الشذوذ تحطيم الشاذ. لهذا أيها الإخوة الشذوذ عقابه القتل.
اللواط إذا ثبت يرمى من مبنى عالي.
طب أنت شو بتعمل فيهم؟
أنا حقيقة يعني أستخسر فيهم الإعدام. والله هؤلاء ينبغي في الواقع أن يوضعوا في مكان عام ويجلدوا ويؤدبوا حتى يعني.
Now, let me ask you this question. I'm a white Christian Mormon, male. I'm in the biggest hate group of all time. White Christian Mormon male. Why is it that it takes me to point this incredible hatred out night after night? Why am I the guy pointing this out? Because I'm supposed to be the crazy bigot. Why isn't everybody showing this? Why isn't this news? Why isn't this the battle cry for LGBT groups? How about GLAAD? GLAAD was Johnny on the spot when Kobe Bryant called a referee a gay slang term. These are religious leaders. They're openly calling for the stoning of homosexuals, and we're helping them. Our president is saying, let's sit down with those guys. What do you say we sit down? Let's put this into perspective. The world is at a tipping point. The population, the Muslim population, is expected to increase from 1.6 billion people in 2010 to 2.2 billion by 2030. These are the people that are involved in the Arab Spring. They're about to affect the entire world. Before we run to arm, support, or organize them, with these kinds of numbers, maybe we should just pause for a second and try to sort out the good and the evil. What do you think? Back in a minute. We're just trying to... Aaron, do we have a red piece of chalk? Yeah. Because I think... How many jobs? What are the jobs?
There it is.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a... What do you think? Does that work?
Do. Yeah.
That'll do?
You got it.
Good.
Good. Perfect, man.
How many...
Thank you.
How many jobs do you create? Percentage during the recession?
June 2009, about 48% of all the jobs created in America were in Texas.
Thank you, sir.
Come add to it.
Thank you. Would love to. All right. I have no idea who that man was. That's not the candidate you were looking for. All right, I have some good news for you. The Senate Armed Service Committee just approved the next Secretary of Defense. He's fantastic. If I told you that we had a guy that was, okay, kind of a socialist, kind of not really strong in defense, but he could be unanimously endorsed. What would you say, huh? Full Senate's going to vote on this nomination next week. No date has been set. We got him. He's transitioning from his post at CIA. Now, he leaves a legacy behind him of a revolutionary, groundbreaking leader. He was the only CIA chief to get all of his information from watching the news on television. He was sitting in front of the House Intelligence Committee. He said, this is during the midst of the Egyptian riots back in February. Watch this. This is brilliant. Watch.
I got the same information you did, that there is a strong likelihood that Mubarak may step down this evening.
He didn't know. But he only had the full resources of the CIA. Senior intelligence official was left to clean up the mess, saying that he was, quote, clearly referring to press reports. His statements were not based on intelligence reports. Of course not. He also gave America a fresh new take on the Muslim Brotherhood. While most people believe the Muslim Brotherhood leaders, you know, when they said if they gained power in Egypt, their first order of business would be declare war on Israel and wipe them off the mat. Not this guy. No, not worried about the Muslim Brotherhood. Here he is.
This is not a monolithic organization. It's an organization that goes back to the 1920s. And it varies from area to area. And so it's very difficult to kind of say, okay, you know, they are extremists.
Yeah. Varies from area to area. Some areas, they play pinochle. That's all they do. Some, okay, they want to kill the Jews at all costs, you know. But extremists, pinochle. Kill all the Jews. We don't know. So I'm looking forward now to him being the Secretary of Defense, because he's going to bring that same revolutionary kind of intelligence, you know, he's going to bring that cable news philosophy with him. You know what? I know he prefers CNN, but Leon, I mean, just in case you're watching now, Coke over Pepsi. Also, Muslim Brotherhood, bad. So, take him seriously, because he is a serious dude. The president doesn't need any more logs on the fire in the Middle East, I'll tell you that right now. And he's going to be great at the Secretary of Defense. Does anyone find it odd that he's going from the CIA secretary to the Secretary of Defense? And we have General Petraeus replacing him at the CIA. I don't think I've ever seen that flip before. We look back in the records, it was 1973. I can't figure it out, really, myself, because this guy's really, I mean, he's a leftist. He's not a big military guy. He was a budget numbers geek in the Office of Management and Budget during the Clinton administration. And nothing screams Secretary of Defense quite like debits and credits. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not sure what's going on here exactly. And so I'm not going to speculate. I instead am going to let one of the terrorists from the Weather Underground, Mark Rudd, I'm going to let him speculate. But not today. He speculated right after Obama got elected. Listen to this. Quote, Obama had to basically play to the center, not be run over. He has a narrow mandate for change. The economic agenda will stress stimulation from the bottom sometimes and handouts to the top at other times. Isn't that amazing? That's what he said right after he got elected. The terrorists from the Weather Underground knew. I mean, he's nailed it so far. Then he says, move on the small stuff, but to a small and significant extent, gain support and confidence. Leave the military alone because they're way too powerful. By the second or third year of this recession, however, when stimulus is needed at the bottom, people may begin to discuss cutting of the military budget. If security is being increased through diplomacy, hey, all we want to do is 1967 lines, that's it. Or the application of international law. I'm just saying a responsibility to protect. But one thing, he goes on to say, I do know, is that you'll have to be able to look like you're doing one thing, but do another. Again, that's a Weather Underground terrorist. I mean, this president, gets his weather from the Weather Channel. He knows nothing about these guys. You know, it's weird. If you watch the debate just last night, I think it was a guy who was in the Navy, I think. He was asking a question. And he said this, quote, "We have issues at home and we have to reduce our expenditures." Isn't that weird? Like a Navy guy saying, hey, we should. Do you think that Mark Rudd got this one right? Who knows? All you have to worry about it, you just trust the senators, okay? Because the senators are going to look into this. And in case they don't worry. We've got 13 shows left. And there are plenty of people in the mainstream media that will follow this story for you. Trust. President's in Puerto Rico today. He should get out more. Seriously. Travel the world. See, take some time off, you know? Man. Nothing going on. Did you hear the strange story? I saw it today before I came in. That there's a new report out that says gold may be $5,000 an ounce. Can you imagine what the chaos of this planet has to be for it to be $5,000 an ounce? Not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty. Oh, and the whole debt ceiling thing. But don't worry about it. I hope he gets a chance to, you know, shoot some hoops down there in Puerto Rico. We have an interesting story from the FBI today. Activists on the left are upset and crying foul over an FBI probe into their dealings. In Chicago, FBI agents took boxes of books, family photos, artwork, and personal letters in last September's raid of the home shared by Stephanie Weiner. Now, no relation that we know. Have we checked, Tiffany? Okay, no relation to Anthony Weiner, and I also have no idea if there's any Weiner pics. I don't know if she's taken pictures of her in a gym or anything else. Okay, her husband, he's Mr. Weiner. I don't know if Mr. Weiner is, I don't want to know. The agents seem more interested in the home base business and not the Weiner pics. These guys are interested in their revolutionary lemonade stand, which strangely sells no lemonade. Isn't that weird? Instead, sells silk-screened infant bodysuits and other clothes with just very precious socialist slogans and phrases. And I got to tell you, there is nothing I want more for my baby than a bib that says Fidel's special little comrade or something like that. Wouldn't that be adorable? Would you go? The search was part of an ongoing nationwide terrorism investigation with an unusual target: peace activists and labor organizers. Yeah. Needless to say, peace activists and labor organizers are freaking out. How could this administration, which is so pro-labor and so pro-peace, allow such a thing? I know. It must be overwhelming. A Washington Post report says the FBI, quote, is examining possible material support for Colombian and Palestinian groups? What? The left and Palestinian? Designated by the U.S. government as terrorists. No way. No way. But the targets of the raid insist they are not tied to any terrorist, and they're protesting the raids. They claim the government is targeting them because they're critical of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East and South America. Well, let's play a little game. Let's find out a little something about our raided participants, shall we? First, there's Mrs. Weiner. Okay, Stephanie Weiner, whose revolutionary lemonade stand, sadly again, not an actual lemonade stand, temporarily shut down. She was just selling anti-capitalist paraphernalia using capitalism. Oh, how she must hate herself. But who is she? Well, she's just a revolutionary who taught English at a Chicago City College for, 25 years or so. She's a member of the Palestinian Solidarity Group. You know, one of their campaigns is to end the Chicago sister city relationship with a city near Tel Aviv. She's also a founding member of the local municipal workers' labor union, and she is also an advisor to the Wright College Students for a Democratic Society. Okay. Labor union and SDS. All right. She's also been the advisor to the Peace and Justice Club since 2002. Now, her husband, Her husband and her were involved in a New Wave party at the University of Iowa in the 1970s. Party was organized as part of the Progressive Party within the university student government. Oh, and she's a member of the Socialist Chicago New Party, which was founded by, do I have him here? Yeah, here he is. I love him. He's so great. Joel Rogers, remember him? Oh, all American stuff happening. Now, her husband, who is not a wiener, he's an Osbaker. She's a strong, powerful woman. Why would she have her husband? Who are you to judge? He's an employee at the University of Illinois at Chicago. Well, that school comes up a lot, doesn't it? Joe is the advisor of the campus chapter of, here's one of my favorites, SDS. And a member of the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, a revolutionary socialist Marxist-Leninist organization in the U.S. They stand for the right to self-determination for the African-American nation in the Black Belt South. But who's not for that? I think we all feel the same way. He's an executive board member for SEIU. What? Yeah. And along with his lovely, lovely wiener wife, he is also a member of the Chicago New Party. And last but not least, he's a supporter of Bill Ayers. But wait, there's more. There's more. You got to meet these crazy kids. We'll do that next. Oh, man. Excited because we have more peace activists that the FBI are beating down the door of, and they've got to be bad if this FBI is coming after. By the way, I don't know why these people. I'm looking for a connection to what's happening in Gaza, and I don't know why these guys hate Hispanics so much, but I believe this is a flotilla, and that's the way it is. Now, let me show you some other members of Congress that are speaking out against the FBI raids. Because, well, these are Americans. Sure, they have suspected ties to terror, but we just talked, about a nice couple from Chicago. No doubt they've been wronged here. I'm going to show a couple more. Our third, no doubt, innocent victim here of these FBI raids is Hatem Abudaya. He is the executive director of the Arab American Action Network and a member of the Palestinian Solidarity Group. Here's one of his sweet, sweet, gentle quotes. Here it is. Bring it up here. You have it? The U.S. and Israel will continue to describe Hamas and Hezbollah and these other Palestinian and Lebanese resistance organizations as terrorists. We're so hateful. But the real terrorists are the governments and military forces of the U.S. and Israel. How right he is, huh? The vast majority of the world sees and understands this and are in full support of the Lebanese, Palestinian, and worldwide resistance to Israel and the U.S.'s naked aggression, war and imperialism and occupation. I don't think this guy or these guys could have said it any better. Here's Carlos Montes on the flotilla. He is the most recent person to have been raided. Now, here he is at a protest against the raids. Carlos is a founder. There he is at the protest. Here, he's a founder of the Black Panthers-inspired Brown Berets. Okay? Member, right there. There he is. Younger. Boy, you kind of let yourself go there, Carlos. Too many flotillas. He's a member of the March 25th Coalition, the Campaign for Illegal Alien Rights in 2006. Oh, that was good. Remember those days? And he's also the leader of Latinos Against War. So why has he been targeted? Good question, America. That's why today the Committee to Stop FBI Repression is sponsoring a national call-in day to support Montes. Organizers are asking people to flood Attorney General Holder's office, demanding he drop the charges against this clearly innocent man. Now, this is clearly blatant, ugly, anti-Hispanic racism. Plotius. You make that call today. If you can't, don't worry. Tomorrow, There's a viewing of a movie about the 1960s Chicano movement inspired by Montez when he was the Brown Beret leader. Thursday, there's a big rally outside the Federal Building in Chicago. Get your airline tickets. Now they're going fast. These people are coming out of the woodwork now. This is why it is important for you to be able to judge someone by the fruits of their labor. You'll have to be able to figure out, these guys, good guys, bad guys. They look normal, right? I mean, except for the guy going, okay. They look normal. How do I know the difference between right and wrong? Education, enlightenment, empowerment. And then judge somebody by what they're creating, the fruits of their labor. And then, after you've judged good versus evil, join one of the groups, will you? You can stand with these guys, or you can stand for Israel. Find out how at glennbeck.com. All right, you know and I know there's a lot of crap happening in the world. And how are we going to solve it? That has been the thing I've been wrestling with for a long time. How do we solve it? Well, that's why I gave you the E4 project, Enlightenment, Education, Empowerment, and Entrepreneurship. I want to tell you somebody who's using it in Palmer, Alaska, Anthony Ursick. He's not one to sit around and wait for life to happen to him or anybody else. This is an ambitious young man. He's already published a book on deep sea creatures that's coming out next year. Well, last weekend he wanted to accomplish what nobody else had ever done before. He's a member of the Palmer Church of God, and Anthony invited 37 members of Palmer churches from more than 30 local ministries and several public servants to gather for the first ever Palmer Singspration at Raven Hall on the Alaska State Fairgrounds. Anthony, I read in the newspaper, said that I was one who initially inspired him to take action to help churches become a special shield in their communities to protect residents from negative outside influences, and he's trying to bring people together. By the way, I left out one part of this story that I think might be important. Anthony is 11 years old. He put this whole thing together, have all of the local church communities unite, not in theology, but in spirit. To conclude, he gave a speech at the event. 11-year-old Anthony Ursick said this, quote, "I'd like to leave a thought with you from Dr. Bernard Nathanson. Dr. Nathanson was one of the founders of the abortion movement. He helped provide 75,000 abortions, one of them being his own very own child. He later became a pro-life movement leader. Nathanson explained to the public how he got abortion legislation passed. Quote, "We knew that the biggest obstacle in our way was not going to be the government or the media or academia. We knew that we had those, and we could easily get those on our side. The biggest obstacle was going to be the church. Abortionists would have never gotten away with it, what they did, had the churches been united, purposeful, and strong." End quote. That is from an 11-year-old American. I didn't even know who Dr. Nathanson was. You ever heard of him, Oscar? No, we didn't know. He's 11. It should give you some hope that there are people that are uniting. They are starting to be active. There are people doing their own homework all around the country. Here is an 11-year-old. We have a couple of college girls that have set up something in support of Israel that is now, I think, in 34 different states, 38 states. It's all about E4, entrepreneurship. An enlightened, educated, empowered individual can create something of real value. But if you want to create something, you have to have a blueprint. You have to be educated. If you want to save something, you have to be educated. Go to glennbeck.com now and learn more about the original argument. It's important. glennbeck.com. Go there now. I'm just making a list. Today, we are now 12 shows before the final episode. Radical Islam. Tonight we did E4. Tomorrow is government control. On Thursday, we're going to do a lot of stuff on history. We have a special show for you. I've been asking the audience, what do you want to learn from this show? We've got 12 left. Please email us. What do you want to learn? What do you want? What do you want us to cover again? When it came to history, people wanted to know more about the founding fathers, and also the roots of radical Islam. People wanted to know, how did we survive the Great Depression? How did we make it through? And what can we learn? This Thursday, you're going to get some of those answers. Make sure you join us for every last episode. From New York, good night, America. One. What the? Now, you want somebody tough. This guy. CNN, may I ask you a question? What the hell is wrong with you? I've never seen anything like this. First of all, shh, let them speak. Second of all, Coke or Pepsi? Coke or Pepsi? Innie or outie? The world is burning down, and you know what? I'm voting for Plenty. Because he didn't even think, what about the Pepsi generation? He just immediately said Coke, and I like Coke. He's a man of action. You gotta be kidding me. And you wonder why you guys are losing. Well, it's between these four, blue or the Reds. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see another debate. Will he wear a blue tie next time, and these guys wear red? I don't know. But I know I'll dismiss anybody who's wearing yellow or no tie. What is that? Now, coming up on tonight's program, we have wiener news, but not the wiener you're thinking. Believe it or not, there is another wiener out there making news. And you're going to be amazed that nobody... No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm going to be real honest with you. You're not going to be amazed that nobody's talking about it in the media. It's the media. In a real world, one that made sense, you'd be amazed that no one's talking about this wiener. Coming up. Episodes. I'm tired of sitting around and talking about the problem. It's time to roll up the sleeves. Wait a minute. I'm wearing a blue tie. At the beginning of the year, I laid this out for you. E1, E2, E3, A4. Empowerment or enlightenment, education, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. I believe this is the solution. Everything that is coming down on our head here in America and the rest of the world is going to come down to the individual. I told you last night about a book that I've been reading. I tell you, I have forgotten about what I learned about militant Islam and the roots of Islam, or early Islam. Last night I was reading a section of this, and it's amazing what you can learn. The world is at a tipping point. Actually, I was surprised. I thought these guys did great. Well, not this guy. But I thought they all did well. And she did too. It's the ties, though. That's what it is. Welcome to, 13 shows remaining on this program. 13. Welcome to the program. Hello, America. It is hard to believe that we're 13 shows left. I plan on using that remaining time as wisely as possible and bring you the most important information that I can. At the beginning of this year, I told you, I hope, signaled to you that I was going to be leaving this broadcast, because I said on one of the first... Did you see the presidential debate last night? May I give you my analysis? There's a way to categorize all these people. Let's see, I would do it this way. Let's see here. And then this. And then here. Okay. He's wearing a power tie. He's got the red on. It means he's forceful. He means it. These guys, I don't even know. What does yellow even mean? They're both wearing yellow. Presidents don't wear yellow ties. They're out. Now, so the real choice is between the blue ties or the red one. She didn't even wear